What's good, people? It's your boy the Kryptonian saying, bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 166. So, before I get into this chapter, I want to ask you guys a question. It's not chapter related, but it is more so towards One Piece, okay? So, for a lot of you guys, you know that I've been diligent in staying with this whole reviewing from chapter 1, this journey, okay? And I'm caught up in other mangas, and I'm looking more so for with my Naruto and Bleach stuff. I'm looking to get some more capture footage, and I've got this right here. I've got the J Stars versus Victory game, okay? And the thing is I'm greatly assuming that because of the year that this was made, okay? This was made a few years ago. I'm really assuming that there are going to be some spoilers in this, okay? And the reason why I'm saying that is I was looking at it, and Sasuke's design is towards the end of part 2 of Naruto. And I was like, well, if that's the case, then Luffy's going to be, I wouldn't say close to his current form because it's been probably another 200 chapters since this game's come out. But somewhere around there. So the thing is would it be possible for me to play this game and not play Luffy? Like, not play against Luffy or play Luffy? You know, is there a way to kind of do that? Let me know in the comment section below, because I'm really itching to get some more footage, particularly, like I said, the Naruto and Bleach, but I also want to do some stuff for the Hunter x Hunter stuff. So with that out the way, this chapter, once again, this is a setup chapter, but Oda's doing a good job of building up things for later on. I really feel like some of this stuff is being built up for later on in the series. But at the same time, what he's doing is he's raising the stakes and the tension for this current arc. So overall, this was a really good chapter. I'm going to go ahead and give it a rating of 4 out of 5. And the reason why I'm doing about that, my battery went out. Okay, I like how when Mr. 3 shows up, one of the things that gets pointed out is he's saying, well, hey, I never really talked to you, boss. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about the communications that you had. You talked to somebody, you didn't talk to me. And I like that for the simple fact that we get to see Sanji's dialogue again, because Crocodile's having this internal monologue scene where he's recalling what Sanji said, welcome to restaurant Le Crap. So I like that, because right away he's going, okay, that didn't sound right. And it's that particular scene right there. I felt like at the time he should have caught it, but it makes sense given the fact that he hasn't really had much interaction with these people, hasn't really talked to them, any of that. So it makes sense. All the communication, I believe, goes through Miss All Sunday. So this was nice. It shows that sometimes you can be too hands off as a leader to where you don't know your personnel. Because if he knew his personnel, he would have known that, oh, this isn't my people. And he right away makes the connection saying, this is why the Unluckies haven't come back. So I love that part. Another thing that I thought was very interesting was they used Mr. 2's copy ability, and he's like, oh, I've seen these people. There was more than what Mr. 3 was told. So I like the fact now they know every member of the crew, and the person that they point out is Usopp. And I like how Crocodile immediately says, they're going to try to make contact with the rebels. We have to stop them. And I like how two things happens, okay? The first thing that happens is Crocodile grabs Mr. 3 by the throat. And he basically tells him, you're not as strong as Mr. 4, but you have this rank because I thought you had the potential to be more ruthless. And it really reminds me of the numbering system in the Espada. Because when you look at some of the Espadas, some of them, power-wise, it didn't make sense for some of them to be higher than Ucleora. Okay, I believe Ucleora was number 4, and Ucleora had the second Resurrection state. Now, granted, nobody else knew that he had the form, but even in his first form, power scaling wise, he came off more powerful than some of the others. So, with all of that being said, I like how this was, kind of similar to that, but at the same time, when Crocodile grabs him, one of the things I found interesting was the fact that Mr. 3, it was said that all of a sudden he got very thirsty, okay? They got very hot, very thirsty. So I'm wondering, is that part of Crocodile's ability to, his ability? I'm wondering if that's it, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe one of you guys said in the comment section that he had a devil fruit. So that's a small spoiler, okay? I did read that, but that's a small spoiler. It's expected though. But the other thing is I'm wondering, is that his devil fruit? And it would make sense because we're in the desert and Ace was shown. Ace has, the fire ability. So it would make sense if his stuff is kind of played into it. But I'm not sure just what it is. I do think it has something to do with heat or something nature-based. It has to be. Just given where we're at and the fact that when Crocodile shows up, all of a sudden the rain powder and everything. I mean, it's small things. It really feels like Oda's been kind of weaving in towards this. The other thing I thought was interesting was the fact that he doesn't hesitate to kill him or have him killed because he drops him in that crocodile pit. And I don't need to see a fucking body for this, okay? I don't need to see a body for this. The crocodiles were going in there and he said it's time to eat. So unless he's got crocodile snacks in his pocket, he ended up like Crocodile Dundee, okay? Like the boy in Australia got ate up. Like, he ended up like that. So with that being said, I want to move on to what really touched me in this chapter. And it's the fact that when Luffy said I quit, I thought maybe he was saying we're not going to leave until we have Toto with this stuff. Not the case. He says, Vivi, one, it doesn't make sense for us to go after Crocodile. Makes absolutely no sense. And even Sanji says, for someone who's an idiot, he does make some good points from time to time. And in this case, this was hands down the best point Luffy could have made. Because Luffy's saying what I've been saying for a while. And that's Vivi's idea that she can have a bloodless rebellion. Or she can end a rebellion bloodless. It's not going to happen. I mean, this is very similar to what happened in the Naruto filler arcs where they borrowed a lot from the Itachi novels. And one of the things that, really pushed Itachi was after seeing so much carnage and devastation on the battlefield, he became a pacifist, okay? And his whole thing was he wanted to be able to stop this Uchiha rebellion without bloodshed, okay? And that's what he had ingrained in his head. And when he actually kills his lover, the woman that he was actually betrothed to, and for those who don't know what that means, the woman that he was set to marry, that was set up. And he ends up killing her with Tsukiyomi, okay? Basically shows her in the future of them getting married, and that's enough to destroy her mind. So it's confirmed Tsukiyomi can destroy minds. But that's a bloodless way of finishing it. Whereas with Vivi has this grand notion that they can stop 700,000 men with just words. And it's not going to happen. And Luffy points that out. People are going to die. It's inevitable. People die. You lose people when you get to situations like this. There's no getting around it. And Vivi literally has to come to blows with Luffy. And I like that Oda didn't pull his punches on this. And like I said, maybe this is the modern time kind of talking through. Because this was written in the late 90s. So I could see that. But again, maybe that's coming through. But I feel like a lot of mangakas now, they are going to be hesitant to have the main character just slug out a woman that's in the main cast. Vivi, for the time being, is in the main cast because it's clear that her destiny is here on this island, not with Luffy and the crew. So I like seeing that because a lot of times we see the woman hit the man, and it's because comedy relief. That's the culture thing. I saw a lot of that shit, over in Japan, so I could see that. But the other thing is I like how Luffy is continuing to drill it in her head. Like, look, how are you going to say that we're not going to die? How are you going to say you're not going to die? How are you going to say none of them are going to die? And Luffy has to do that because Vivi has to understand that when you're in a leadership position, you have tough calls. You have tough calls to make. This is one of them. Not everything's going to go according to plan. And when shit blows up in your face, it's all on you. People look at you. And you have to be able to live with those decisions. So I like what Luffy did. And the other thing is Luffy, You could call it the pit bull mentality where you just lock in on one thing. I look at it more like Luffy, a lot of times looking at the big picture and just focusing on that, that's not the best thing to do, because a lot of times when you do that, you miss the small details or the small steps that takes you towards what your end goal is. And for Luffy, it's kicking Crocodile's ass. Okay? But in this case, because of the information we as readers know, it's probably best that they do not go towards Koza and the rebels, because Crocodile is setting up a plot for them, a trap, if you will. So in this case, Luffy thinking with the bigger picture is absolutely the right thing. And he plays the emotion card because he says, Vivi, I'm willing to bet nobody wants to kick his ass worse than you. So I like how Luffy did that. You know, I've talked about this before. A lot of sociologists have, you know, their statistics and everything. The way that women's minds work is they're more inclusive, whereas men think with a more compartmentalized thing. And if you just look at Vivi's reaction, everything saving her island, everything is all interconnected. Luffy is taking this shit brick by brick by brick and realizing each brick is different. So again, I like how sociological studies are being incorporated into this. But in this case, Luffy's actually the one that's got the right idea. And I never thought I would say that Luffy's got the right idea, but it's absolutely the truth. You go after Crocodile, you kick anybody's ass who gets in your way up at this point. But Crocodile, if you take his head off, the whole body falls. So overall, very, very good chapter. Like I said, I give this chapter 4 out of 5. And the only reason I can't give it a 5 is I can't shake this feeling that some of this stuff, and not just what happens on the cover story where full body is, dancing in protest for Django. So it's not that, but I just feel like this shit's getting ready to be worked back in later on in the series. And it bugs me because the writer in me wants to know what the hell is going to happen. So, like I said, 4 out of 5. My chapter question is, what were your thoughts about why Luffy said he would quit? And did you think that he had to go as far as he did to physically knock some sense into Vivi? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I can tell you right now, I'll give you my own answer. This is a personal thing. You know, one of the things with me is I had a situation, this was like 2010. I was I was 19, I was dating a 24-year-old who had a 2-year-old, okay? And I was living, fuck it, I give away where I was at. I was living in Memphis at the time, and I had a ex who ended up moving to Nashville, okay? And, she went to Nashville because, full ride for school, that was her thing. She was following her dream, okay? I was actually out of school. No, I was a year getting ready to go out of school. And what ended up happening was, I went up there, and we got to talking, and I literally had to grab her by the shoulders and shake her ass and tell her to calm the fuck down. And I feel like in this case, that was one of those situations where you had to get physical in order to reach somebody because they're too far gone. So in that sense, I don't feel right about that shit, particularly because of shit that happened after that. But I can understand where Luffy's coming from. I can understand. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below. But as always, if you like anything I had to say, make sure you hit that like button, comment, rate, subscribe, share. I will greatly appreciate it. But as always, thanks for watching.